Hello everyone, I am Dr. Berkkkaratas. In the previous video, what arouses women sexually in men? So, can this be called skin compatibility or not? What are the characteristics of women in this sense? What do they want from men? We talked about these. In the first part, I talked about smell. Smell was a very important characteristic because a woman can understand from a man's scent whether he is particularly suitable for her for reproduction. This is an incredible feature. I said I would explain it in a separate video. Well, this video is that video. Now I will connect 3 scientific studies related to this. I will explain 3 scientific studies. Now, in our first study, they asked women, which of your senses like sight, hearing, smell, and so on have a significant impact on your relationships, both during and outside of them, and in your choices. Look, this is the milk of men, and this is the milk of women. In mate selection or sexual selection, visuals are traditionally very prominent for men, but for women, the most important sense is smell. So they make their choices based on smell. The first sense for women is smell, and the second sense is sight. When asked which is important for you during sexual intercourse, for men, it's definitely visuals by a wide margin. For women, it's touch and physical contact. This is very important. When you ask how it happens in non-sexual stimulation, it's imagination, meaning creating fantasies. We always say this. Creating sexual fantasies or daydreaming is the most beautiful, healthiest, and something that should be done frequently, and it should be done correctly. So, to summarize, the most important thing for a woman in making a choice is smell. We noted this on here. In our second study, they asked women, specifically married couples or couples who have been together for a long time, about their sexual compatibility with each other. So they conducted a survey asking how your sex life is, set it aside, and then they did genetic testing on those couples. What did they look at? There is a complex called the MEC gene complex on chromosome 6 that shows the immune system. These are the genes responsible for the functioning of the immune system and fighting against diseases. There is a complex called the MEC gene complex on the chromosome. These are the genes responsible for the functioning of the immune system and fighting against diseases. They looked into these, they looked at how compatible they were and found this out. The more incompatible a woman and a man are, the better the sex is. The more compatible they are, the fewer sexual responses there are. So, the D at 8. In couples, sexuality, strong sexual attraction, their sexual responses, the number of sexual encounters, and decreases in sexuality. When things are going really well, the closer they are to each other, the more, if they are the same, and there are that many issues. In the second part of the same study, they also looked at a second thing. When the similarity exceeds 50%, meaning when 5 out of 8 match, when 8885 sleeps, the rate of infidelity is above 50%, meaning the rate of cheating on each other exceeds 50%. So, from this study, we understand that the less genetic compatibility there is, the more incompatibility there is, the better the sex life. Now, let's briefly summarize before moving on to the third study, because it's important. What did they do in our first study? I said scent. What does she base her choice on? She makes her choice based on scent. Women can distinguish this. Okay, nice. Scent was number 1. It was a feeling. In the second choice, we already paid attention to the MC Gen group. The third study is actually this one. By the way, there are a lot of studies related to this. I took these 3. There are many more studies between smell and mech. Okay, the woman chooses, but she chooses based on smell. And then they look at how the person she chose matches with mech. And here is where the most important point comes up. How do they do this? They do it like this. Women smell men's sweat and react. They take the scent of men's body odor, the scent of sweat, and drop it onto a cotton ball, then let the women smell it. Now there are women who are smelling and they report whether they liked it found it ordinary, or didn't like it. Their genetics are clear. The pleasure or satisfaction they get from the smells is also clear. Men are also clear, their genetics are clear too. So what are we expecting? If a woman really loves a scent, there shouldn't be a complete genetic match, because previous studies were like that. Is that how it turned out? Yes, that's exactly how it turned out. The more incompatible the genes are, the more women like that scent. In fact, as genetic compatibility increases, women don't like that scent at all. They even say it's disgusting. So this is a very important thing. So, in summary, women can pick up on scents. So the question is this. Let's ask ourselves a question like this. In fact, let's ask two questions. Can women pick up on the scent of men's MHC genes? In these scientific studies, yes, women unconsciously, of course, they don't do this consciously, unconsciously. They can use their sense of smell to choose the man who is genetically most suitable for them. So if we leave the choice to the woman, then they will be able to choose the most genetically compatible one. So what's the second question? Why do they have such an ability? So what's the point of this? So women choose men to be together, have children, and that's the end of the story. No. The answer to this question is, of course, evolutionary. Why? Because generally, if the other party has the same immune characteristics, then when these two come together, the child will also have the same, so there won't be any diversity. Secondly, the immune system won't be stronger. However, when different immune systems come together, a much stronger immune system will emerge. So what's the summary of this? Why do women do this unconsciously? To ensure that the lineage continues in a healthier way. It's truly amazing how women have this ability. So they say that women are incomprehensible while men are much easier to understand. What did women do? Actually, I don't think there's such a thing as women being incomprehensible. I think we need scientific studies about women. So we haven't really tried to understand women, right? Well, women are called incomprehensible because we don't do anything. Look at this, feature 2. It's been known for the last 10 years or so, but for example, I had explained to you the history of premature ejaculation in men, BC. It even existed in the 19th century. It existed in the Middle Ages, it existed in the modern age, and so on. In other words, we cannot understand women because the focus is always on men. In scientific studies, especially women's physiology and sexuality are always left aside. Of course, people tend to say they don't understand something when they don't know about it. But of course, times are changing. Hopefully, much better and already much better work will be done. And we will understand women better. I'm sure we will. And we will understand women better. I'm sure we'll understand. It's not that women are something to be misunderstood. They're human beings. Women can be understood. How will we understand them? We will conduct scientific studies like this. Oh, women choose scents according to their own preferences. What's the reason for this? Look, it's very clearly understood. So in a way, we've understood women here. Thank you.